Well, we're 24 hours away from the round 15 clash against the Western Bulldogs, so it's time to share some final thoughts now that the finals teams are known. Before we get stuck into the final thoughts, we are 57 subscribers away from hitting 3,400. It'll be amazing to hit that by the time the balls bounced against the Bulldogs on Sunday. So if you're watching and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the button. It's free to do and it helps the channel out massively. And with that said, let's crack on with the video. And I want to say massive congratulations for Jasper Alga for getting his debut game against the Bulldogs, which is very, very amazing. As you all know, I've been a huge fan of Jasper's since the moment he walked in the door, and I've been harping on about him getting a debut for quite some time now, trying to wish it into reality, and now that's finally happened. I'm super excited for him and can't wait to see what he can do at AFL level. And I think the reason this has come about is largely because of the Kane McAuliffe out because of the quad issue. But in terms of what that meant for the side, so as we sort of spoke about in a previous video, that with Kane McAuliffe going out, it now means a Jack Ross or a Tyler Sonsie who are kind of playing that half-forward role, and not overly well, mind you, but it allows them to take McAuliffe's midfield spot or midfield slot. So I know he's not starting in there, but he's getting quite a few CBAs. And that then frees up the half-forward role to put the actual half-forward in, which is Jasper Alga. So it makes total sense. As soon as I heard that Kane McAuliffe was going to be out, that my mind went straight to that logic, and I'm pretty sure I said it a few days ago as well, and that's what's ended up eventuating. So I'm kind of glad my logic was on the right path. It just seemed to make sense, even though I probably internally felt like I was being biased because I want him to play. But yeah, Jasper's had a great month of football, and like I've said, the last game he had 3 goals against the Swans, I think 16 odd disposals, he had tackles, he had marks, plays taller than what he is, knows where the goals are, he's going to provide another offensive threat, which is really, really good, and I'm just super excited for him. For someone that young to get their debut, he's our 7th debutant this year, which is phenomenal, and he's well and truly earned it, so all the best to Jasper. But looking at the rest of the team, on the bench, we've got Caleb Smith, Camden McIntosh, Jasper, Tyler Sonsie, and Tom Sims. Obviously, I'm just keeping everything crossed that we don't put Jasper as the sub. I don't think we will. I'd be pretty bloody flat if we did, if I'm being honest. It feels like the sub's most likely going to be Camden McIntosh, in my opinion. He's done it the last couple of weeks. He just seems like the most versatile player out of those ones to play a different role. Sonsie and Smith have obviously both been the sub previously. I don't know if they've got the same type of impact that Camden can have. I mean, if a winger was to be subbed off, Camden can do it. If a half-backer or a defender was to be subbed off, he could actually do that as well. And he can roll through the midfield if we need as well. So I just think due to versatility reasons, he might be the sub. But yeah, just please don't let it be Jasper, whatever you do, guys. Emergencies, Trezise, Lafau, Jacob Blight. Trezise definitely banging down the door. He's going to get a game sooner rather than later, I'm pretty sure. As will McKelty, Lafau. It is interesting that we have gone with Jonty Fall and Tom Sims again. I think the bye might have saved them here just from the being tired factor. They obviously had a week off to refresh and recharge the batteries. I'm still personally not sold on having the 2 youngsters up there from a competitive standpoint for 4 quarters. But Uze and Co want to get the games into the young kids, and they're backing him in, which I'm happy to back their judgment, of course. I don't know, I suppose my viewpoint's more having a mature body down there to bring the ball to ground, because if Rory Lobb... Okay, so let's wind it back a little bit. So after talking to the Salty Bulldogs crew on Behind Frenemy Lines, they feel that James O'Donnell's probably going to get the job on Tom Lynch. Now, this will mean that Rory Lobb could be freed up to then intercept Mark. And if Jonty Fall and or Tom Sims does not make Rory Lobb accountable, or they aren't dangerous themselves, and they allow Rory Lobb to just peel off, then they are going to cut off almost everything, and it's going to take our small forwards out of the game. And then playing someone like Alga, Green, Mansell is almost going to be completely redundant. And that was kind of my theory on why we should have had a bigger body up there to bring the ball to ground. But it's going to be a huge task for Jonty Fall and Sims to make Rory Lobb accountable, and Lynch if he has a turn as well. We cannot let him float across uninterrupted and take marks. I'll get to some stats after as to why it's really important, but I know it makes sense on the surface, but we'll dig a little bit deeper in a sec. Luke Traynor named on the wing. Again, I think this comes down to the back line just being super settled at the moment. I'm, as I said before, I'm a bit of a fan of Luke Traynor on the wing. I think it's going to be a good developmental role for him, and I think he can grow into it. So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how he goes in that space as well. Bolter and Miller down back, they are going to have their hands full with Darcy and Aaron Norton. Obviously, a lot of Richmond supporters have some PTSD from when Aaron Norton played forward for one of the first few times against us many years ago now, and we made him look like prime Wayne Carey. I think he had like 9 contested marks, kicked about 5 or 6 goals, and just smashed us. And Sam Darcy, well, he's just Sam Darcy. He's an absolute beast of a player at the moment. And look, I think Bolter will probably get first crack at Darcy, but it's going to honestly take a team defense, isn't it? And this is going to rely heavily on the midfield, really defending hard, a lot of two-way running, and making sure the Bulldogs midfield don't get easy ball inside 50. If we allow Western Bulldogs to transition the ball easily, I think I said that word wrong as well. Transition, we'll try again. If they can transition the ball easily and relatively unopposed, and Sam Darcy's got leading lanes to lead into, he will cause us massive headaches and kick a big bag himself, as will Norton. So the key to it is making sure that we shut down their outside runners like your Ed Richards, your Treloars, Fraser as well, Bailey Dale. Yeah, they can get their disposals, but they need to be rushed disposals or just hack kicks forward. And I know it won't happen all the time, but to the best of our ability, we need to make sure that they are not in free space able just to pinpoint passes inside 50. Otherwise, it will end in tears for us. On our front, we just need to be ultra competitive up front, bring the ball to ground, let the smalls come into play and do their thing. Now, I went and had a look at some stats as well on the Wheelo Ratings website, and honestly, it's grim reading, if I'm being totally honest. But these were some of the key areas that I felt were interesting to look at, and it doesn't bode well for us. Now, I know the Bulldogs are 9th on the ladder. I don't think that's an accurate reflection of how dominant they are within games, and they've probably just dropped a couple of games they shouldn't have. They've obviously been missing quite a few of their players for a lot of the year, and have now got full cattle back, which is even more scary for us. But Bulldogs have the highest overall player ratings of the AFL with 230, and we're 17th with 180.1. Bulldogs rank 2nd in AFL for disposal efficiency. Richmond rank 11th. The Bulldogs rank 2nd in the AFL for average inside 50s with 56.9. We rank 18th with 45.1. And that ties back into my point about Rory Lobb, that if we average 45.1 inside 50s, as it stands now, I reckon 20 of those get marks by the opposition defenders most times. And that takes us out of the play for half of the inside 50 entries we have. We need to switch that narrative, and we need to improve that area somehow. Bulldogs rank 4th in the AFL for contested possession. We rank 17th. Bulldogs rank number 1 in the AFL for clearances, for centre bounce clearances. Richmond is 17th. No, we're 18th in that one. We're 18th. That scares me greatly. Bulldogs rank 8th for stoppage clearances. We rank 17th. And the Bulldogs average the most shots per game in the AFL, and we are 18th. So in a heap of really key statistical categories, they are at the top echelon, we are at the bottom echelon. Look, from our standpoint, it's relative in terms of our development and where we're at with our football. So I kind of understand it and don't really mind it so much. I mean, it'd be great if it was better, but there's reasons why we are where we are. What worries me, though, is how prolific and how good the Bulldogs are at all of those key metrics that typically dictate the outcome of a game. So if we can't get on top in clearances, if we can't contain them at stoppages, if we can't reduce their shots on goal or limit their inside 50s, it could get ugly. And I don't like thinking that way, but this is honestly the game that's had me the most worried out of all games so far. I just don't know on what line of the park are we going to be able to keep them in check. It's going to take a mighty effort, and we probably all had sort of similar feelings in the Giants game, and look what happened there. Maybe even the GWS game, the Gold Coast game as well. So stranger things have happened, but it's going to be a really big ask, a really big learning experience for our Tigers, and I'm fascinated to see how this one plays out. So, that is the stats. That's where everything's at, and that's the final thoughts for this week's round 15 game against the Bulldogs. We will be doing a live show for the Bulldogs game as well, so make sure you tune in for that, and we'll do a bit of a watch along, and hopefully it's not too grim. But we get to see Jasper play his debut game, so I'm all about Jasper and his debut. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. Have I missed any key stats? Is there anything else you're looking forward to? Any matchups you might want to see happen, or any types of game style you want to see happen? Chuck it all in the comments below. And other than that, we'll see you on Sunday for the Tigers game.